Hello everyone, happy Monday. I hope that you're all doing well. Welcome back to our weekly Minks Monday Q&A. Before we get started, let me share the bag that I'm currently rocking, and that is the Coach Tabby Top Handle 20. All right, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Starting with the first question from Elizabeth Gibbon. Hopefully I said that correctly. What would your feedback be to give to a friend who has shifted their attitude towards others who do not have many luxury items, but high street fashion items like Coach, Kate Spade, or Tory Burch? A close friend of mine has been gifted Louis Vuitton and Gucci over the last 5 years by her significant other. I started out excited for her because she didn't know anything about the LVMH brand, and I thought it would be fun to chat about new releases, etc. However, I have been shown differently as time has progressed, and she has been gifted more items. She has become, without better terms, a snob or pretentious, believing she is now an expert on LVMH. She now looks down on others for buying luxury secondhand. I have purchased many luxury items secondhand as I no longer live near a boutique and I don't want to hassle with Louis Vuitton online or locate a sales associate. I informed this friend that I would be purchasing a Chanel wallet on chain for my birthday. Her response was not favorable, in fact, rude. She even said, "Why? It's not like you have an image to uphold where you are. There can't be women with Louis Vuitton bags there." I still plan to purchase luxury designer items secondhand because I love the brands I purchase. But now I have no desire to share that initial excitement when I find something I love or have bought with this friend. All right, so I will never understand why some people change when it comes to them acquiring luxury goods, or why people decide to share their opinion when you are not soliciting their advice for that matter either. But I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of your guys' relationship, and in my opinion, that is not what I consider a friend. A friend is not someone who judges you. A friend is not someone who puts you down just to try to make themselves look better. You know, I know some people might view it differently, but that's honestly how I feel. And that's the worst, when you have someone with whom you can share the excitement, the love of these luxury goods, and you can talk about those new releases as you had mentioned, but instead, they end up becoming a little too big for their britches, if you will, and it just kind of takes away from that initial excitement that you want to be able to talk about these things. So I completely understand where you're coming from. People buy luxury goods for various reasons. They either buy them because they love the brand, they love the history, they love the craftsmanship. Some people buy luxury goods just purely based on the name, and it's like, whatever the reason may be, to each their own. You know what I mean? To each their own. And I don't think it's right that someone would try to look down on you because you decide to buy something secondhand, or whether you decide to buy a brand new for that matter either. You know, I mean, I get people like that on my channel all the time. They're constantly telling me, "Oh, you're trying to maintain an image." And it makes me laugh because I'm like, "Oh yeah, what image is that?" I'm just an ordinary, everyday type of chick. Now, I'm sure that the Joneses are incredibly nice people, but this chick isn't trying to keep up with them. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you do you. And I've said it before, and I'll say it a million times more. You do not owe an explanation to anybody with how you decide to spend your money. Whether you decide to go pre-loved, whether you decide to go brand new, people don't need to know the X, Y, and Z's of why you're doing what you're doing, especially when it's someone who's looking down on you and someone who's trying to make you feel less than. Absolutely not. Now, as I said before, I don't know the ins and outs of your guys' relationship, and I'm sure she has some awesome qualities, but personally, the way that I see it, if it was me, that is not a type of friendship that I would personally like to entertain. Just because when someone is looking down on you and saying those things that they said, it is completely uncalled for. Now, you can call them out if you guys do have a very close relationship. You can just call her out and say, "Dude, what is your problem?" And just let her know what's up. Or if you are not a confrontational person, you can just say, "You know what? I'm just gonna make my peace, and I'm just gonna distance myself from this person," because in my opinion, it seems, you know, like there's a part of it that's very toxic, because instead of her building you up, or instead of being super excited for you, she's putting you down. And that's totally uncalled for. And if you don't have someone within your life that shares the same passion for luxury goods, remember, there is an entire community right here that will always cheer you on, that will always be super, super excited for whatever it is that you decide to add to your collection. I mean, there have been many times when I see people in the comments say, "Oh, I got my first bag," or "I got this." It doesn't necessarily have to be about a topic that we're discussing. And I just absolutely love seeing all of the amazing feedback, all of the awesome some comments of people just being super, super excited. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Being happy for someone else, not trying to make them feel less than, or trying to make them feel like they're not good enough, or they have to maintain an image or whatever. That's absolute nonsense to me. If you did end up picking up that wallet on chain, as I mentioned before, major, major congratulations, and you rock it like it's nobody's business. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Have you had friends in the past who have changed when it comes to them acquiring luxury goods? Have you had a situation like this happen in the past as well? Let us know in the comment section down below. But Elizabeth, you keep being your fabulous self, and remember, you have a bunch of us who got your back. Next question from Nancy and Joel. What are the handbags behind you? So for my backdrop, from time to time, I do like to switch things around, and either because I get stir crazy, or if I'm gonna be filming 2 videos that same week, I don't wanna have the bags in the exact same spot, although you guys have seen a combination of these handbags within the last couple of months. But the ones that I currently have in the back are the Fendi Mama Baguette, the Gucci Ophidia GG Supreme top handle cosmetics case, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on it. The Clooney BB in the monogram canvas, the Saint Laurent Kate in the medium, Paul Lenz number 7 in the Bordeaux, the Celine Nano luggage tote in black, the Louis Vuitton Petite Noe in the multicolor white, the Furla. It's not the Julia and it's not the Metropolis. I can't remember the name to save my life, but that's a Furla right there. And then down here I have the Louis Vuitton front row sneakers, the Polène number 1 mini in gray, Polène number 1 in the Bordeaux, then the Givenchy Antigona in the size small in black, and the Louis Vuitton runaway sneakers. But yeah, these are the ones that I, for the most part, I end up having in the background, like I said before, for the last couple of months. And I was also asked why you guys never really end up seeing, you know, my classic flaps or my totes or other handbags that I have within my collection in my background. And the main reason is because I'm lazy. As you guys know, I do end up taking out my handbags whenever I end up filming a video. And when I don't film, I have them in dust bags. And so far, these guys, as well as the Alma, the Coach, and a few others that you guys have seen back here, those seem to be the easiest for me to take in and out of dust bags, you know, especially because of my totes and with my classic flaps. Those, I have a system in place as to how I end up storing them, if you guys watched my storage video. So those take a few more steps for me to take in and out of dust bags, whereas these, I feel like I kind of have it down to a science. So yeah, it's really because I'm lazy. Although I have brought out the Chanel minis for a little bit more of a pop of color, and I also had my reissue up here for the longest time. But yeah, for the most part, I just feel like these are just so much easier. It takes a couple seconds for me to take them out, whereas the other ones, I'm a little bit more careful. Not that I'm not careful with my bags, you know, but yeah, that's a little bit of the behind the scenes as to why I have what I have in the back. And then I'm sure in 6 months time or what have you, it'll look completely different. But I will definitely keep in mind to either have more of a variety out here or try to add more pops of color. But if I don't, it's because I'm lazy. It's because I'm lazy and it takes a little bit more time. But yeah, these are the beauties that I have behind me. Next question from Laura Cannon. What is your favorite must-have Louis Vuitton Damier Ben print bag? All right, so it was a little bit of a tough choice between 2 bags, the Alma BB and the Pochette Accessoire. But ultimately, I decided to dub the Alma BB my favorite for this print. Not that I don't like the Pochette Accessoire. I absolutely love this bag. I love how simple it is. It definitely ends up packing a punch. I like how versatile it is as well. You can either use it as a clutch, you can use it as a shoulder bag, you can add a crossbody strap to it and have a little bit more length. So I think that's wonderful. But I ended up picking the Alma BB because with this guy, I feel like I feel like it's small, but it packs a punch. I absolutely love the silhouette. I love the structure. And I have also noticed that even though I do have the older treated leather, this one is not as matte as the new ones and it's not as soft. I don't find that the strap that this comes with ends up digging into my skin as I do with, say, my Neverfull. My Neverfull, I think it is beautiful. It is my least used in my collection with that print. But of course the biggest difference is that with the Neverfull, it is such a big bag that I have zero control over how much I end up fitting in there. Whereas with this one, I definitely end up going for more compact small leather goods. But still, I don't find that that it ends up digging into my skin whatsoever, whether it's on my shoulder or whether I go to use it crossbody. And even though I do end up griping from time to time about the strap not being adjustable, it is removable, but the fact that I have been able to incorporate other straps, either the Pochette Métis strap to give it a little bit of a different look, or to make it more user-friendly if I wanted to use it crossbody and have it be a little bit higher up on my torso. I've done that as well. So because I've been able to do that, it makes this bag just a tad more versatile within my collection. Plus, I notice that more often than not, whenever I decide to go for a Damien Ben bag, I always end up reaching for the Alma BB. But I am crazy about it. I did decide to take off the key bell that it came with and add a luggage tag just with a simple M, just to give it a little bit more personality. And I also like the fact that even though it does have quite a bit of structure to it, you can either set the zipper if you wanted to have it be a little bit more secure, or if you wanted to open it up so you can see everything at a glance. So I like that as well. But I'll be honest with you, whenever it comes to Damien Ben, regardless of the bag, I am such a sucker for the print. I think it is absolutely beautiful. You have that stunning, stunning red, and then in combination with the browns and the gold hardware, I absolutely love the way that the handbags look. And I really wish that Louis Vuitton would incorporate more collections, or they would introduce, new styles and new silhouettes in that print as well, instead of just monogram. But I am curious, for those of you that do have Damien Ben bags within your collection, which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comment section down below. Next question from Justina A. Do you think that there will be a change in the luxury community with everything that's been happening? What about you? Just based on some of the comments that I've seen within the last few weeks, within the last few months, I definitely think that it's possible that there might be a shift in the luxury community, but of course only time will tell. Some of the comments that I've seen in the past are people had mentioned that they're going to be a little bit more conscientious as to what they decide to add to their collections next. I've seen some people talk about them wanting to take a break completely from luxury goods, especially because of what we talked about last week with price increases. But I've seen a lot of people talk about them being completely just done with luxury goods, either because priorities have shifted, or they don't feel as passionate, they don't feel as enthusiastic about these items as they did in the past. And I completely get that, because for me personally, it's put a lot of things in perspective. It's put a different spin on things, and not just with luxury goods, just with life in general. And I know that we've talked about this in the past. There have been things in the past that I have taken for granted, and I definitely don't want to do that anymore. Moving forward, I want to be able to enjoy other aspects of my life, not just with luxury goods. I want to enjoy other parts of my life a lot more, and a lot more often, so that's kind of how I see it. But for me personally, when it comes to luxury goods, I want to enjoy what I currently own, and I want to put more things in rotation, and I want to kick that bubble out to the curb more and more. And I know that you guys have heard me talk about that famous bubble for the last couple of weeks, but that's honestly how I see it. And there are handbags that I would like to add to my collection at some point in time, but I am in no hurry to do so, again, because I want to enjoy what I currently own. Not only that, I'm also taking this as an opportunity to go through my collection, because my taste is constantly changing, and I feel like there are bags that I don't necessarily put in my rotation as often as others. So that's something that's also come up. But I do love luxury goods, and I do think they're fun. And at the end of the day, I just want to enjoy them, and I don't want to put them in. I don't want to freak out at every little thing, because in the past, that's what I always did. I always freaked out about this, and I freaked out about that. And I mean, they're just things. They are just things. And I don't want to sit here and sound like I'm saying, oh, money's no object. Not at all. That's definitely not the case. But I do end up seeing things a little bit differently. And it'll be interesting to see how everything ends up being once everything settles down. But I would love to know, what do you guys think? How do you feel? Do you feel that there's going to be a change in the luxury community? Is there going to be a change within your collection? Whatever the case may be, let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. Next question from April Kimmons. Hopefully I said that correctly. How do you store the Nano Speedy since you can't remove the strap? I have one, and I'm having a hard time with storing it. I know exactly what you mean. The Nano Speedy has been a little bit challenging to store because of that non-removable strap. And you guys might laugh, all right? And you might think I have gone completely into the deep end when it comes to how I store this bag, but we all know how I am, all right? I was a little bit OCD with how I decided to store this bag, because when I got it, the strap was inside of the bag, which definitely definitely does end up working, but that's something that I personally wanted to avoid just because I didn't want to go through the process of trying to take out those kinks of the strap every time I went to store it and then took it back out. So I wanted to avoid that, and I wanted the strap to be a little bit more flat. So I actually ended up taking a different dust bag that I have. It's a little bit larger, and I end up setting the Speedy like so, like opened up completely in the dust bag on my shelf. I actually don't end up using this this dust bag whatsoever. Actually, I just end up laying it on top. But I pretty much end up laying the bag like so. So that way it's completely flat on both sides. I don't have any funky creases or kinks when it comes to the strap. And of course, the more and more that I use it, once I go to put it on my shoulder or when I go to use a crossbody, you don't see, you know, a funky type of strap or anything like that, because it definitely reminded me of the Fendi Mama Baguette, because that one has a wonky strap and I wanted to avoid that completely. So that's kind of what I do. It takes up a whole lot of space, and the funniest thing is it's like this is the smallest bag I have, so for it to take up the most space in a sense when it comes to storing it might sound kind of ridiculous, but it definitely ends up working out for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you guys, I'm gonna take the camera and show you guys how it lays on on the shelf back there, and maybe it might end up giving you an idea to do the same with yours. But yeah, just trying to avoid those kinks without having to stuff in, then take it back out or anything like that. I don't know. I don't know. All right. But like I said before, we all know how I am when it comes to storing these bags. And I do end up leaving air paper in here. I think I have, yeah, 3 little things of air paper, and these fit in perfectly, so that way it ends up maintaining its shape. I also had someone ask if I'm going to be getting an organizer for this. Definitely not. I don't see myself getting an organizer just because it's already a small space, and I want to maximize you know, what I'm carrying in here. So I do think that the organizer would help to maintain the shape, but I think because it's so small, it's not something that I necessarily have to worry about. And then when I don't have it in use, I just end up stuffing it with air paper. So let me just take the camera very quickly and show you guys how I end up storing this little guy. And maybe, I don't know, like I said before, it might end up helping out with your situation as well. But major congratulations on your Nano Speedy. All right, here we go. Hopefully the camera doesn't wobble around too much, but as you can see, it does take up a pretty good chunk of my shelf. But I really like it with the larger dust bag, because with the larger dust bag, it allows me to run the strap along the entire length of it, so that way I can avoid those kinks and it still ends up being flat. But there we go. And I do end up storing the handles in the upright position, kind of like I do with my other Speedies. And then with the top flap of the dust bag, I just put it over the handles and I kind of secure them in place. And it looks like so. And I have put the dust bag that it came with on the very top, although I might end up just kind of storing that one away. But yeah, that's how I end up storing the Nano Speedy. And trust me, I know it might seem crazy OCD, but what can I say? It gives me peace of mind, you know? So I don't know if this ends up helping you out to store yours as well, or for those of you that have handbags that you can't end up removing the strap, this might be another option. But yeah. Next question from LuxCC. Being that you are a sneaker enthusiast, would you want the men's Eclipse reverse sneakers? All right, so before I get any further, let me insert a picture of these shoes right now. Let's be honest, these shoes look identical to the Vans Authentic and to the Vans Slip-On, right? And you guys know I am a die-hard Vans fan. I always have been, I always will. And Louis Vuitton has released this shoe in the past. I believe it's called the Trocadero. They've released it in the epi leather as well as a few other materials, if I'm not mistaken. And I've always been like, you know, I really like it, but why? Why would you take from Vans? You know, just leave Vans alone. But then I saw these and I have to be honest with you, there's a part of me that is definitely leaning towards it, but then again, my loyalty to Vans just doesn't want to allow me to move that way. But I think that they are insanely beautiful. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago with the reverse monogram Eclipse. I think that this collection is stunning. I love monogram Eclipse, and the fact that they have the reverse with this shoe that looks so much like a Vans style, a Vans silhouette, really has my eyes drooling. But at the same time, I'm like, no, I can't betray, you know, my beloved Vans. I can't do it. Plus, I think I think they're like 900 bucks. I think. I thought I saw 900, or maybe they're a little bit more. I can't remember. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a little bit more. And I'm just like, I just can't, I can't do that. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I can't betray one of my favorite brands of all time. But I feel like one eye is just stuck on Vans, and this eye is wandering towards the shoe, not the slip-on one, but the other ones. And I'm just like, ooh, that's nice. So I don't want to sit here and say absolutely not, because there's a part of me that definitely wants to move that way. But if I had to guess, just with how conflicted I am, I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a shoe that I will appreciate from afar, and I will drool about from afar, but I can't do it. I can't break that loyalty. Watch in like a month, you guys see it. No, I'm just kidding. No. But they are absolutely beautiful. But I draw the line. I got to draw the line somewhere, and it definitely is drawn when it comes to sneakers. But what about you guys? For those of you that are sneaker enthusiasts as well, do you like this shoe? Are you a fan of it? Is this something that you want to add to your collection? Let us know in the comment section down below. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. And the last question from Carol Chin Lin. Hopefully I said that correctly. Would you buy a Cartier love ring or bangle? All right, so I do have a Cartier love ring that the hubby gifted me a couple of years ago for our anniversary, and I absolutely love it. This is one item that I also did end up putting in that bubble, because with the gold, it does end up showing those scratches very easily, and I know that you can take it into a jeweler, you can take it into Cartier as well. But I did put it in that bubble, and you know, after everything, I was like, no more. So I have definitely been enjoying it a lot more than ever before. Now, as far as the bangles go, I do think that they're beautiful, and I love the fact that you have a variety of different ones that you can go for. You can either go for all gold, or you can go for gold with diamonds. And I do like the way that people end up stacking them on their wrist. I think it looks insanely gorgeous. But personally, bangles aren't really for me. And I really feel that they're a little too stiff. And what solidified this for me was that I had the Hermes Click Clack H bracelets in the past. And even though they were beautiful, I didn't like how stiff they were. I personally prefer a bracelet that moves around a little bit more, kind of like this. And I know that the bangles aren't necessarily like cuffs, but there's a part of me that feels kind of claustrophobic when I have something like that on my wrist. I feel very uncomfortable, and I don't even know if that's the right word for it or not, but I feel like, I don't know, with this one I just have a little bit more freedom, I have a little bit more movement, but with those I didn't necessarily like whenever I would end up, you know, I'd put my arm down and then the entire bangle would kind of move up. I didn't like the way that that looked either. So for me personally, it's not something that I ever see myself going for, just because of my past experience with a bangle type of bracelet in the past, or any type of cuff either. But I can definitely appreciate them, and as I said before, they are very beautiful, especially how people incorporate them into their arm stacks. But I just find them to be very uncomfortable, and like I said before, it might sound weird saying that, almost claustrophobic when I have something like that on my wrist that just kind of moves around, versus this that, I don't know, just has more freedom. I don't know. I feel like I sound like a lunatic as I'm trying to explain it. So hopefully it does end up making some type of sense. But they are absolutely gorgeous, but they are definitely not for me. But fabulous question, and hopefully I was able to answer it. All right, you guys, so that does it for Minks Monday Q&A. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope I was able to help. You guys had some awesome questions this week. I'm going to try my hardest to film another video for either Friday or Saturday. And if you guys don't see me, you will see me on Monday. But I love you. Stay safe, be well, and I will see you in my next one. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.